In this particular video, we're going to be describing the effects of a range of plant hormones on growth. In particular, we need to feel confident in stating the effect of auxins, ethene, and gibberellins on plant growth. In addition, we'll be exploring how the distribution of auxin can cause a range of tropic responses in plants. Plants lack the complex nervous system typically seen in other multicellular organisms. That said, it's still crucial that they're able to respond to their environment in order to maximize their chances of growth and survival. At GCSE, we need to be confident in describing the effect of three specific types of plant hormone: auxin, ethene, and gibberellins. In each instance, we'll see how these chemical messengers bring about large-scale changes in the growth and development of our plants, helping them to thrive in potentially challenging conditions. Auxin plays an important role in the growth response of plants. More specifically, by distributing auxin unevenly between both sides of the stem or roots, a plant is able to grow directionally towards a positive stimulus or away from a negative one. For this reason, auxin has been used by humans in agriculture for over 100 years. For example, while auxin provides a specific benefit to many species of green plant, it can be toxic to certain types of broad-leafed species. This allows auxin to be used effectively as a selective weed killer, meaning it can be sprayed over an entire field of crops, but will only kill the weeds. In addition, auxin can be used as a rooting powder to stimulate the growth of roots from a branch or leaf which has been cut off an established plant. By comparison, the hormone ethene is responsible for causing plants' fruits to ripen. As one plant matures, it gives off ethene as a gas, helping to trigger ripening in nearby plants also. Ethene is used in the food industry to control fruit ripening during storage and transport. To make fruit last longer, supermarkets and farmers may prevent the release of ethene by chilling any fruit which they pick or using a chemical inhibitor. Finally, gibberellins play an important role in germination. Germination describes the process by which a plant begins to develop from its dormant seed. Without the effect of this particular hormone, the plant's seed will remain dormant and will not grow into a fully mature organism. All seeds naturally contain gibberellins. However, farmers frequently spray on extra quantities of low concentration gibberellins in order to speed up the rate at which their crops develop. In addition, exposure to heightened levels of this hormone can promote flowering in plants and increase the rate of fruit growth, giving larger individual fruits overall. Going to do our first pause point question now. Can ask you to match up each of these three plant hormones with their specific function. Going to give 20 seconds to do this, however, feel free to pause the video if you need some additional time. And showing the correct answer as follows. Second pause point question. Which of the three plant hormones could be used as a selective weed killer? And the answer is, of course, auxin. Third pause point question before we move on to our second part of this. Identify which of those three plant hormones could be used to produce extra large strawberries. Well done, all those people who identified gibberellins as the hormone involved in this process. We're now going to take a closer look at the exact way in which auxin impacts growth. Now, as we said earlier, it's crucial for plant survival that they can respond effectively to changes in their environment, and for this reason, auxin plays a significant role. We refer to the directional changes in growth caused by auxin distribution as tropisms. More specifically, a positive tropism describes the tendency for plants to grow towards a favourable stimulus, while a negative tropism refers to a tendency to grow away from unfavourable conditions. At GCSE, we need to feel confident talking specifically about phototropism, that is, how plants grow in response to light, and gravitropism, how they grow in response to gravity. In this diagram, the shoot or stem of the plant can be seen to exhibit a positive phototropism, that is to say it grows towards the source of light, and a negative gravitropism. It's pointing upwards against the force due to gravity. By comparison, the roots of the plant are seen to exhibit a negative phototropism and positive gravitropism. Now, tropisms occur as a result of the unequal distribution of auxin between both sides of the plant. The main area of auxin production is the growing tip of the root or shoot. From here, the chemical is transported downwards and distributed evenly between all cells. However, this distribution begins to change in the presence of light. If light shines from one direction onto the shoot, auxin is rapidly transported from the light side to the shaded side. This buildup of auxin on the shaded side causes the shaded cells to elongate, that is, get longer, at a higher rate than those on the light side of the shoot. As a result, the plant shoot bends towards the source of light, allowing it to maximize the rate of photosynthesis. Now, it's really important here that we note that auxin is not increasing the number of cells on the shaded side. However, by making each individual cell on the shaded side longer, we see a directional response with the shoot growing towards our source of light. Now, interestingly, auxin has the exact opposite effect on root cells. Here, a heightened concentration of auxin inhibits cell elongation. As a result, the roots bend away from any potential source of light. And again, this makes sense because we want the roots to grow downwards into the soil in order to anchor the plant in place. In terms of our plant's response to gravity, we can see that as a result of the force acting downwards, our auxin molecules will be distributed from the top face of the plant to the bottom face. In the roots, the heightened concentration of auxin on the bottom face of the root will inhibit cell elongation in these cells, causing our root to directionally grow downwards towards the force due to gravity. By comparison, in our shoot of the plant, we can see that we have an increased concentration of auxin on the bottom face. Here it promotes cell elongation, causing the bottom side of the plant to grow quicker than the top and causing the shoot of the plant to grow upwards towards the light. So, modelling an example question now. We might be asked to describe the effect of unidirectional light acting on the shoot of a plant. Now, it's really important that when we talk about unidirectional light, we mean that light is coming from one direction only. If I was writing a model answer, I would be sure to include the following key ideas. I would then mention And so we always want to demonstrate our understanding that auxin is being produced in the growing tip. In the shoots, our light is going to cause auxin to be transported from the lit side to the shaded side. And here this is going to promote cell elongation. In other words, the shaded cells will elongate at a higher rate than those on the lit side. This will cause our shoot to grow towards the source of light, that is to say it exhibits a positive phototropism, and then we are explaining that within our understanding of evolution. By exhibiting a positive phototropism, our shoot is able to maximize the rate of photosynthesis because more light is going to shine onto its leaves. Let's look at another example here, looking at the effect of gravity acting on the shoot of a plant. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to complete this example, filling in those gaps in this scaffold. If I can ask you to pause the video now while you do this. And having completed that scaffold, we should have got the following answers. So again, mentioning our knowledge of auxin being produced in the growing tip. However, the force acting downwards due to gravity causes it to be unevenly transported from the top face to the bottom face. Again, this is going to promote cell elongation in the shoot, meaning that those cells found on the bottom face will elongate at a higher rate. The shoot will grow upwards, that is to say it exhibits a negative gravitropism, and we can contextualize this by the fact that if our shoot is growing upwards, it's going to be able to absorb more light and therefore carry out photosynthesis more effectively. In this third example, you're going to answer one more extended question, this time without a scaffold. So in this third example, we're looking at the effect of gravity acting this time on the roots of a plant. 5 minutes to complete this, again pausing your video while you complete this question. And using our knowledge from earlier in the video, we should have an answer which looks something like this. So for our third time, we're identifying the site of auxin production. We know that, again, we're going to see distribution of our auxin unevenly. That is to say, there'll be more on the bottom face than the top face. However, in the roots, unlike the shoot of the plant, a heightened level of auxin is going to inhibit cell elongation. In other words, the cells on the bottom face will elongate at a lower rate than those on the top. For this reason, our root will grow downwards, or will exhibit a positive gravitropism. This makes sense as by growing downwards, our root will be better able to anchor the plant in place, or will be able to absorb more nutrients or water from the soil. Over the course of this video then, we've identified those 3 key plant hormones, and we've talked in detail about the effect of auxin distribution on a plant's tropic responses.